Hey, good evening to everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It's coming up on 6 p.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. And yes, the verdict is in. Guilty on all three counts. Derek Chauvin has been found guilty on all three counts. I just want to touch base with you guys on some of the things that went through my head. I got to be honest with you. You guys know that I always say what's on my mind, regardless. Sometimes it's not the best thing, but I'm always honest. And I'm going to tell you some of my thoughts and feelings I wasn't expecting. All right, let me start at the very beginning when I saw the judge read the verdicts, and I saw Chauvin's face go ashen and pale, and when he stood up and got handcuffed. Now, don't misunderstand this. I didn't feel pity for Derek Chauvin, but I was surprised that part of me almost, I don't know how to describe it. It was all just so senseless. Of course, the biggest loss was George Floyd's, the loss of his life, that senseless loss of his life, the cruel way that this has played out. But now, even because of his own actions, I see Chauvin's life, now spending up to 40 years in jail. And it just seems all so senseless. This could have all been avoided. Like I said, don't get me wrong. I believe Derek Chauvin is getting what he deserves. But when I saw him get handcuffed and you realize, he's going to jail for up to 40 years, his life is over. And like I said, and it's all so senseless. None of this had to happen. I just want to talk briefly, 1 second, stick with me here. In my last video, I talked about how when I actually listened to George Floyd panicking and trying to get out of the cop car, I realized it reminded me, I had felt that before, the panic of somebody that's in the disease of opiate addiction. And when they realize what's going to happen to them, it's a serious panic because you know what's going to happen. You're going to get dreadfully sick. And not only that, you're going to be helpless in jail. And it is a terrifying thought. If Derek Chauvin, I thought about this after, if Chauvin had just talked to George Floyd, I think all of this was a misdemeanor, wasn't it? Over a counterfeit 20, if it even was counterfeit. If George Floyd, if Derek Chauvin had just talked to George Floyd like he was talking to somebody he cared about, if he just showed a little compassion, a little empathy, if he just told George Floyd, look, we'll take a ride down to the station and we'll sort this out. If Derek Chauvin had just said to George Floyd, look, I'll try to get you a PTA. Let's just go to the station and sort it out. A PTA is a promise to appear. Now, I don't know if that was even a possibility, but if Derek Chauvin had just said that to George Floyd, that Floyd could possibly walk out with no bail in a couple hours, I guarantee you George Floyd would have sat back in that seat and nothing would have happened, and he would have gone along for the ride. Because cops have told me that before. Because they saw the panic and they told me they'll try to get me a PTA, and I remember that feeling. And he didn't handle it that way. The cruelty. When I heard the video and the voice recording of George Floyd, and when I saw Chauvin's vest cam showing him just the total, he couldn't care less, and then the fact that he had his knee on after, he deserves this. But I was surprised by my feelings when I saw Chauvin handcuffed and being led away, knowing that he's gonna do up to 40 years. It's just all so goddamn pointless. It didn't have to happen. It didn't have to play out this way. Next thing I want to say is I am proud. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm proud of the United States. I'm proud of our justice system. I'm proud that it worked. I'm proud of the people of Minneapolis. You see, right now in Minneapolis, you're not seeing any violence at all. You're seeing celebration, not yay celebration, because of course George Floyd is still dead. But you're seeing a relief that at last an African-American man in this situation got justice, and it's a celebration of justice served. And it's such a good feeling to see that. To see the people on the streets of Minneapolis just flying the Black Lives Matter flags and peaceful. I saw them on their knees collecting money. I don't know if people donated money, but I was amazed at this. There's about 6 to 8 people on their knees and a huge pile of money in the street. And they were picking it up and counting it. I assume these were donations. And that stunned me and myself. A lot of us thought it might not go this way. And we're seeing such brotherhood and compassion amongst all races. It really gives me a good sense, a good feeling. I think there's a lot of people, probably, not a lot. I think there's some on the right, Fox News, that are going to try to spin this as, the worst they can. I don't know how. I pray the rest of the night and tomorrow and the rest of the week goes peacefully. But I'm sure they'll try. I'm sure they were looking forward to, kind of trying to vindicate January 6th and Trump's whole thing I think a lot of them were counting on the worst happening today, and I am so thankful that it didn't, and I'm praying that it won't. I bet you, I'm willing to bet there's a lot of people, Fox News and whatnot, that were just dying to see violence break out and then point a finger at Maxine Waters, or even try to charge her. I thought about that today. If there was any violence at all, I'm sure they would have come out with that. Let's charge Maxine Waters. She incited all this, and I'm sure they were, planning, and I don't like to be a pessimist. I don't like to assume the worst of people, but I'm pretty sure without a doubt that there was some that were definitely hoping for that. And I hate to say that. Anyway, justice served this time. I hope it's a start. I feel good for our country. I feel good that our system worked. I feel proud that the whole rest of the world is watching this right now. They're watching the people in Minneapolis. They see the relief and the celebration of justice served, the peaceful celebration of justice served in the name of George Floyd. It's a good day for America. You guys have a good Tuesday.